Welcome to the Social Mission Revolution.
Each week we explore some of the greatest undertold stories of businesses and everyday people who are making their ultimate impact on the world through social mission. This is Social Mission Revolution.
And this is your host, Andrea Putting.
Welcome to another episode of the Social Mission Revolution, and I'm here today with Sommer Joy Ramer, and I'm interested to talk with Sommer because she has a lot of different things going on in her life that are all related to social mission. So welcome, Sommer.
Thank you for having me, Andrea Pudding. I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you.
Wonderful. So I'd love you to tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you're up to in the world.
Yeah, everything when it comes down to it is in relationship to how am I serving and contributing to peace on earth by 2030. That is what I think about with everything that I do. And I also, in light of peace on earth by 2030, I think about life, like a thriving life for future generations. And with every action and every thought and optimal space I'm in, I think about the future children on planet Earth, and I think about just life and how am I nourishing that? How am I making it more possible for life for all beings, human, Earth, this Earth? How am I nourishing that is really what I think about every day.
Yeah, it's important to be able to look at know what your guidance is in life, and to have that direction. It really is a powerful mover, isn't it?
It really is. And there was many times in my past where I felt like I was 20 different people. Just trying to keep plates spinning, and I don't do life that way anymore. And I've recognized that if I feel called to do something, it's got to come from like this core place in me, and it's also it must be in service of all the dynamic dimensions of what I feel called to be really doing right now in my life, and so there's a lot more discernment that I am listening from with where I put my energy and my time, and it's the preciousness of energy and where feels exciting, and so it's important.
Yeah, I coined this phrase that I created for myself, that in order to say yes, I had to learn how to say no. So really what that meant was that I needed to have an understanding of what my true calling was and where I could have my ultimate impact. And once I understood that, the things I say yes to are those things that are in alignment with that, and anything that I'm asked to do that's not in alignment with that, it's clear, and I just can say no to without any guilt.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like also like where I'm saying no, I feel like makes more space for the really, really yummy, like all of me yeses that are possible with the no's that I also know I need to say no to, that it makes more space for where I really am meant to be putting my energy.
Yeah, saying yes to those things that make the greatest impact in the world.
Yeah.
So that's a good lead into my core question that I ask everybody. So, Sommer, if there was just one thing for you to fight for, what would that be?
Well, I think less about fighting than I do about, what do I stand for?
Yeah.
And for me, I stand for, it starts from within. I stand for joy. Whatever it is that I'm, the mission that I have, which really is peace on earth. I want to do that. I want to contribute in places where we can have a really good time doing it. And I don't mean just rainbows and unicorns and just when the sun's out. I don't mean that. But I do feel like it's really, really important that I show up in places that I want to be, not from a place of obligation or like a guilt that I need to do something, but really, truly, for me, it's where I am able to contribute the most is where it feels the best for me in my life of what's
Hmm.
true. And I think also on the sort of in the same space of joy is also I really take a stand for compassion for self, compassion for all relations, and compassion for the earth and life beyond this earth. That I think when I take a stand for the birthright of joy, I have more space and um more opportunity to really be compassion and be the change that I want to see in the world, by and also making spaces for others that for their joy. Like every single human being deserves to experience not just little glimpses of joy, but like joy, big expansive joy. And yeah, that I stand for joy and I stand for compassion.
Mm. Yeah, so all about giving people the opportunity to make the most of their life. That comes down to, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Make the most of life. And also, you know, I think so much there's a lot of conversation, especially around social mission, that we're running out of time. And there's so much fear that I feel is out there when it comes to social mission sometimes, or that even the guidance to be um supporting or fighting for a cause, that it stems from fear. And I really feel like it's really, really, really vital. And this is really just what's true for me, is that I want to stand for something that feels like it's coming from a place of love inside myself first, not fear. And so not only like the run and like the grind of the work, but also the space for pause and to take care of our families and to enjoy. And that's the joy. Like, I know a lot of people that are doing really, really important work and they look exhausted all the time. They don't look happy. And I don't think that's what life is meant to be, how life is meant to be lived. You know, living is also, yes, it's with the social mission, and it's the nourishment of, really enjoying and taking time to be present with the beauty that's around us. It's an ongoing, and I don't always know either. I know sometimes I'm absolutely off balance, and too, but at least to try to have a little bit of yin and a little bit of yang, and try not to have too much of the doing and too much of the being, but at least to try to have a bit of both.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because for
Yeah,
me, social mission is coming from a place of love, and it is about that joy that fills our life when we are giving to somebody else. And who is it that we're called to give our love to? Who is it we're called to be of service to, and that should be coming back to us through love. And it's those research that shows that when you're altruistic, being altruistic is as pleasurable as having sex. So it's an interesting
Wow.
combination
Wow.
there.
Yeah, that's a big statement right
It
there.
is a big statement,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
what the brain scans show. So
Wow.
it's part of us. It's who we're meant to be. It's hardwired. So it should be coming from that place of love and joy, not from fear.
Yeah, and I also would say too, in light of mission and our, you know, our life's work, what the purpose of life is. I also like to think about, there's a woman in South Africa that's also a SINE member, and she talks about like ripples of winds, that where we when and this is how I think about optimal places and actions is, where are we putting our efforts, and where we see the
Yeah.
most wins, you know, and cyclical, like where the receiving and the giving is almost like lost, like you don't know where the giving and the receiving started or the giving began, that it's just so like
Yeah, I like that.
generating, you know, I think is also something to really um look for in how we're sharing, doing our life's work, that I look for lots of wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about some of your social missions? Because you told me you have about 3 different things that you see are all under the same umbrella, that same purpose, that same drive. So I'd like to
Absolutely.
share with us some of that.
Yeah. Well, you know, this global transformation work, I would say, is I started getting involved with that as the now I am the co-founder of Compassion Games International, and that is a place for individuals, communities, families, countries are really taking compassionate campaigns and 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 creating a space that's gamified, where many around the world are participating in an experience where we're all elevating compassion together. So there are anchor events that happen 3 times a year, and there's actually one that my husband and I are preparing for in September. That's September 11th through the 22nd, and it is a time that's you know, focused around the International Day of Peace, and how we are amplifying and, you know, kind of like bringing a lot of awareness to how we're elevating compassion at that time. And there's a compassion report map, that how we track compassion is how many volunteers, how many hours of service, how many people, animals, oceans served, and then also if there's money or like donations to a cause, is how the compassion is tracked. And there are communities and people that have been playing over years that double their scores and really are working on elevating compassion. So it's not a competition against, it is a co-opetition. So it's about striving together. So that's really where my global transformation work started. And as you know, I said I take a stand for compassion, and you know how to elevate compassion. And it's a really fun and deeply impactful experience of supporting people participating in the compassion games. And we call it a bit of a culture hack. So going from, it's like the antidote to the Hunger Games is the compassion games. So survival of the kindest versus survival of the fittest is the kind of game that I choose to play and support. So it started from compassion games, and then what has naturally unfolded through the compassion games is a need for it, a need for more support for organizations and communities around the world that are looking for stronger ways to collaborate and stronger sort of alliance for creating more opportunities for synergy. And so we really felt that it's naturally what kind of came from Compassion Games is the creation of SINE that happened about a year and a half ago. And SINE stands for Synergized Impact Network Exchange. So it is about social sharing, and it's about building experiences for synergy, and it is becoming a very powerful ongoing way to build opportunities for collaboration and synergy around organizations that really have solutions, are doing great work like yourself, Andrea, the great ideas that are giving people behavior change opportunities to cultivate peace on earth by 2030. So I love working with organizations and supporting really like the great work to amplify and refine, and this space of synergy is really empowering these individuals and organizations to get stronger, and by being in a community and in a celebratory space that's about sharing and caring. So that is instrumental. And about a year ago, I realized that I felt like something really big was missing in my life, that there was more for me to do. And I love SINE and I love Compassion Games, but on a deeply, deeply like soul, like the granules of me, I am a healer. And I have been deeply helping people transform internally and getting more connected at a somatic level that I had kind of disconnected from my global transformation work. And I started a business called Garden of Joy. And Garden of Joy has really come through me deeply, spiritually, intuitively, of helping people connect to their sovereignty within, the sovereignty and a space that is co-created really like from the essence in the universe, that there is this space that is untouched for only you, made in the universe. And I guide individuals and groups to that space. And so once I created that business and have been working with clients doing that, it's been like the other part that sort of like literally brought everything stronger together of my global transformation work and working with organizations. And then that really honestly, like the heart and the healer in me, that is my genius, is my intuition. And it is, there is incredible transformation happening. And so my Garden of Joy organization business is a SINE member, and I am recognizing a beautiful weaving of that work. And there are people that naturally learn about my work through SINE that have become clients of mine, helping people connect at that deeper level, that joy, that birthright of joy, and the imagination of the visions of the great work, and how people want to like really like feel their peace in their life. And so I work with helping people, guide people to 8 different portals within, and a really profound vibrancy, and bringing like bright color back into life, and that there are patterns, in our physical life that's inviting us to connect more in touch with that beautiful place in the universe that's made for each and every person in the world. So yeah, it all right now in my life, I'm really grateful to say it's all working pretty profoundly together. It's taken me a while, but there is a harmony happening right now that feels really, really good, that it's all like activating all of it. So
Yeah, it's like those different layers. There's like these different layers that have built upon each other. And as you've dug down, you found that core of who you are and what you're about.
yeah.
And that simple fact that for us to have peace on earth, it has to start with me. I always go back to that song, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. To find that peace on earth, we have to first find that peace within.
Right.
So I think that's really what your Garden of Joy helps people to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It helps, like, you know, it's like the tuning fork of life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think in life, it may feel really overwhelming and really loud, and like the car is kind of buzzing past you. Just like, life can feel that way. It's just like, ah. But when we get really, really deeply clear, when we close our eyes and feel that space that I do call the Garden of Joy, my Garden of Joy is different than your Garden of Joy.
Absolutely.
And I'm not inviting anyone to believe in anything. It's just everything is an invitation to more of your own wisdom, your own imagination, and what lives there. It's like I'm just shining a light
Yeah. The
into that
guidance.
place that we all access and can, and it's pretty incredible what is unfolding for people. So yeah.
Yeah. And it helps them to understand that guidance that they have it. They don't
Yeah.
need to go outside to somebody else to have someone
No.
else say to you, oh, this is what you should be doing, or this is what I see in your future. Hey, you can see it for yourself.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I absolutely agree with you. And sometimes people can't hear it. Sometimes
Yeah.
people are really in a space of being persuaded by everybody. And I mean, we live in a world and a time right now where there's so much information coming through. And, you know, part of doing my own work too is like that taking responsibility and the ongoing work of compassion, and like things like Spruce, speaking truth with love and compassion, has absolutely changed my inner world and my relations, and how I step into conversations, and how I am you know more conscious of and careful, because there are people that I feel can get easily manipulated into, oh, this is the right way to be an entrepreneur, or I mean, it's just so loud out there of the different ways to be you know doing self-help and those kind of things. And so I really and it's been part of this journey into my Garden of Joy, is letting go of a lot of the things that people have been telling me I
Mm.
need to do in order to be more of myself, that I've realized my discernment and my inner guidance has been slowly telling me to let some relationships go in my life that really don't deeply serve me, and having to make some tough decisions and have some pretty intense spruce moments in my life of getting really honest with myself and how I can be that clear channel that can offer that from a deeper place within myself, that's not coming from a place where I'm easily influenced by others' perspectives or opinions. So it's yeah, it's been a stripping away of a lot of what I may think would be the good thing, the right decisions, versus like what really is coming through for me in that Garden of Joy. Yeah. And so it's been a profound life force energy, just lifter and energizer, to be in that space in service of others from that like ultimate space within is really, really profound. So yeah, and I think anything's possible when we are, like you said, and Andrea, to start from within, like to take that time, that enough to know, like, okay, my cup is full, or hey, my cup is not, like I need to take care of myself, whatever that may be. And once we really care for that place, I really think that any of us can do anything
Yeah, I
when
agree.
we're really, really honest with ourselves and our own
Mhm.
integrity, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah. So what I see, and what I see for myself, but what I hear you saying as well, is that when we're in this place, we're in our garden of joy, as you call it, and being able to connect deeper within ourselves, then we're better in a better position to then find what that service is that we want to be providing to the world. What is it's going to fulfill us in helping others to find that social mission that's calling for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's we don't have a lack of missions in the world to
No.
possibly be connected to. I mean, there's millions and millions of causes and missions. But I think that it becomes really, really clear what is, mine to take on, or when I see and when I listen to my, for me, I call it my future self, my higher self. And when I have those honest conversations inside myself and see, when I look into in a sense, it's like that garden is a taste of my future, my vision. Are we really clear? What is the vision for our lives? What is the ultimate? And like I said, peace on earth by 2030. I spend a lot of time feeling into that, what that looks like, what that feels like, what is going on this planet in peace on earth by 2030. Like I have, I I put, I feel into that space. And when we get really, really clear what those visions are, and it doesn't have to be 2030, but whatever the vision is, down the road, and when we see into that, I absolutely think when we come back to the moment of now, oh, this is what I want. It generates a clarity of what are the actions that matter today.
Yeah.
And also what we need to let go of from the past. I mean, we can spend a lot of time thinking about all the things maybe we could have done yesterday or 5 years ago. Well, that's not going to help the vision that we have for our future if we're going to be spending a lot of time thinking about all those things. And I also can see too, I spend a lot of time with people with their organizations, or if it's in the Garden of Joy place, I spend a lot of time, and I recognize the pattern of resistance. The resistance that gets in the way of people really showing up for what they want to be doing right now in this moment today. Like that courage to take the leaps that we all know. Maybe for myself, before I started Garden of Joy, I had a lot of chronic pain in my body. My body was telling me, Summer, start the Garden of Joy. Summer, you know what you'll do once you get with a client, you will know. But my body, the way that my body was telling me, you need to step forward, you need to, start having conversations with people. It did show up like chronic pain. And I think we all know, like, when we're avoiding like really beautiful steps forward in that vision. And once I really started putting my energy towards Garden of Joy and that intuition to have lunch with this person that I intuitively can't get out of my mind to have a conversation about Garden of Joy that then led to my first client, and so on and so on, right? It all starts with one action, and then the ripples forward is the pain in my body disappeared.
Yeah.
And not to say that I don't still have pain. I do. I'm not going to claim that. But I do think there's something about when we are in alignment with that soul deep, like, longing of where we want to be putting our focus, that is about the good of the whole too, not just about self, but the good of the whole, like how and what is the seed, the contribution to a beautiful world. When we do that, it's like the universe wants us to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really important too. And that's part of what I do with the Garden of Joy, is I get really clear with people lovingly, not in shaming anyone. Okay, well, here's the patterns that are keeping you small, the pattern away from how you really want to be showing up, and getting through that and discovering where in the body and how to work through it. And so life can be definitely much more about the patterns to thriving. How are we living into that? How are we feeding that?
Yeah. And I find that it's a very much what is listening for what that next step is, rather than that once we've got that vision, that's fine, but we need to just know what that next step is, and not focusing on, well, what do I have to do in the next 6 months? It's like, well, what's the next step I need to take today,
right,
towards that, rather than being all hung up about this great big long journey.
Right. Yeah. Each step matters, for sure.
So, Summer, if you had any advice that you could give to people about social mission and getting in touch with their own calling, be blunt, call it a calling, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of what we're talking about here is that, spending some time alone in silence, and going inside yourself, and in the ways that feel really natural for you. Maybe closing your eyes right now is not natural for you, but just taking some time in silence. Maybe it's listening to a song that kind of like opens you up, and just ask yourself, what if you could imagine you're at the end of your life, and you're looking over your life, what kind of things do you want to be like celebrating? And what is the legacy? Like, what is your legacy? What are the seeds? What are the flowers in your garden? Maybe in the sense of going into the garden. Imagine yourself in your legacy garden. What do you see? And when you get really clear and let yourself be in that space to imagine, and from your heart, you get really clear about that, it's going to be really easy, much easier, and I'm sure that it'll get more clear, the attraction and the allurement that life and the universe will want to bring those opportunities and those doors to open for you when you get really, really clear. Like, I want to empower young girls to have opportunity. Or, I see the planet has whales, and I want to take care of the whales. I want to do marine educate, like whatever that is. And like, what is the vision, what, and things will begin to unfold for you. And it can be like one action, and one step forward today.
Yep.
And once you start making those actions, it's easier to make more and more actions. You know, it's like getting out of that comfortable zone, that comfort zone that I
Into
know,
the
like
excitement
Gary,
zone.
what's that?
Get out of the comfort zone into the excitement zone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like I still, you know, and as aligned as life is, I still get nervous, and I feel the energy of like, you know, like even before coming on to this podcast, you know, I still get nervous, and I feel the energy of like expansion and being in places that, you know, oh, I hope I'm gonna, I don't know, that this is gonna work out, or that this is gonna be inspiring to your audience. And I feel that every day. You know, I get in touch with my fear all the time. And if I am not feeling some feeling of fear, or like, oh my gosh, this is like my sweaty palms or something, I know that there's more challenge that I need to be like stepping into in my life, and evolving and moving forward in some way that is gonna stretch, like a stretch zone versus that comfort zone. I don't like to feel really comfortable, to be honest. So
Keep moving. keep
yeah,
keeping those challenges coming in your life.
absolutely. Yeah, it's important for me. But yeah.
Yep. So I'd really like to thank you for coming on to the podcast today. It's been a real pleasure to be able to talk to you about the Compassion Game, SINE, and the Garden of Joy, and how we can tap into what our social mission may be. It's been really enlightening and fun.
Good. Yay. Well, those are two words that matter to me in my life: enlightenment and fun and joy.
Joy. It's been a joy.
Good. Well, I know I gave you the links to some of that information. And I can just say too right now, the compassiongames.org, you can sign up to participate for free anywhere in the world. And there are email missions of secret agents of compassion around the world will be participating in that.
Sounds
and then
like
also,
so much fun.
yeah, it's really, really fun. And SINE is absolutely connected to that. And SINE is SINE.network. You can apply there, and myself or my husband will start a discovery session with you and see if that would be a good place for you to bring your social mission. It's a place of alliance of many people that have social missions that they're bringing forth in the world. Yeah, in the Garden of Joy, I have a Facebook page as well for that. I don't have a website. So yeah.
Wonderful. So people can connect with you at many different places and different levels.
Yes. Lots of ways to play.
Yep, lots of places to play.
Yeah. Well, it's really wonderful to be here with you, and I'm excited for Chocolate and Coffee Day too.
Yes, so am I. I'm always excited about Chocolate and Coffee Day.
Yes. Yeah. And
Which I'll talk
that
more
Chocolate
about
and
one
Coffee
day.
Day is every day.
Yep, I'll do a podcast on that sometime in the near future.
Yes. Great.
So thank you so much, Summer. It has been a joy.
Thank you.
And that's all we have today on the Social Mission Revolution. And I'll be back next week with another Social Mission Revolutionist.
This has been the Social Mission Revolution with Andrea Putting. Join me again next week when we'll speak to another Social Mission Revolutionist who will inspire you on your journey to making your ultimate impact on the world.